makes you worry and wonder what on earth this team can do if they've got a settled squad of players with new contracts under their belt. The rest of the Premier League should be worried, I think. Something of a shock, but then again, I do remember you tipping Forest to win the league a few weeks ago, so maybe...
And there's been no draws in this fixture, incredibly, since December 2020. But funnily enough, I'm going for a draw.
Hello and welcome to another edition of Premier League Predictions with myself, Matthew Christ, and fellow panel member, four-time Premier League winner, Brian McClair. Brian, a fair to middling week last week, just the 5 points, but you did save yourself with a correct score on the Monday night game. And of course, we'll never know if your prediction for the Merseyside derby would be correct, thanks to Storm Dara.
Well, yeah, I'm not sure I'd be thankful for Dara or not, but reasonably pleased with that because, again, there was some anomalies as far as I'm concerned with results, which we can talk about as we go through our predictions for the next round of matches.
Okay, let's do just that. And we'll start Saturday, 3 o'clock. It's Arsenal versus Everton.
Well, it's always nice to see good news stories, and this one is relevant to Everton Football Club. As we just mentioned there, the last ever derby at Liverpool derby at Goodison was postponed because of the weather. And one young lad had travelled all the way from Australia to witness it, be part of it. His family are big Evertonians, they'd heard all about this fixture. And then when Seamus Coleman heard that he had done this, he invited him over to the training ground. And I saw some nice video of young lad Mackenzie there at the training ground being looked after by all the players and Sean Dyche. So well done to Seamus Coleman for such a magnanimous gesture. Arsenal are struggling to score from open play, but their set pieces are certainly working wonderfully well for them. I'm going to go for Arsenal, funnily enough. 3-0 to Arsenal.
So
good news story, but...
So after being so nice about Everton, now you've said they're going to get beaten again. Well, I wouldn't expect anything else from you. Fellow Merseyside team, high-flying Liverpool, are at home to Fulham.
Well, I suppose from Liverpool fans, things are going very well from them. They've made offers now to Salah, Van Dijk and Alexander-Arnold, who are all out of contract. And they seem to be confident they can secure at least 2 out of 3 of those players on new deals. Which one of the ones of the 2 or 3 we're not quite sure who they're confident of, however. In Fulham, they played very well against Arsenal and they're unbeaten in their last 3 Premier League games, especially in the last away game, an impressive performance at Spurs and with a 1-1 draw. But I think they'll find it more difficult at Anfield. Liverpool 3, Fulham 1.
You mentioned the contract issues there. I'm just thinking, did you ever play in a team where there were a number of players on and off when it came to the contract decisions, and how disruptive can that be? It obviously doesn't seem to have affected Liverpool at all, but in the dressing room...
That's what I'm saying, that it hasn't really affected them. The last season I was at Glasgow Celtic, there was a similar situation, and indeed at the end of that season 4 players left. But I don't think, again, what happened with that was that all contract negotiations were suspended, so there was no distraction for the players at all. So it seems that they've handled it the way that they want to handle it, and as you say, the form as a team and some individuals has been outstanding so far. So they'll be delighted if they get. If their confidence is correct in getting at least 2 of those 3 players to agree to remain on Merseyside.
Yeah, and it makes you worry and wonder what on earth this team can do if they've got a settled squad of players with new contracts under their belt. And I mean, the rest of the Premier League should be worried, I think. Let's move on. Newcastle versus Leicester.
Well, Leicester are enjoying a period of balance under Rudd. With a win and a draw, although they were probably riding the fortune very much in the last game against Brighton. Jamie Vardy's in outstanding form, with particularly in the last game with a goal. and an assist. Newcastle are having a bit more of a difficult time. However, I'm expecting them to return to winning ways at home, where they're particularly strong. Newcastle 2, Leicester 1.
Okay, and the last of the 3 p.m. games on Saturday it's Wolves Ipswich, with both teams in desperate need of point.
Well, yeah, this will probably go back down to the same kind of headlines that the previous game that Wolves played at West Ham. With regards to the tenure of the position of the coaches in charge. Although there's probably more clamour around Wolves than there is for Ipswich. Ipswich have now lost their last 3 games in the Premier League, losing after Connor Chaplin's first Premier League goal. He's now scored in all top 4 divisions. But, what was the goalkeeper doing? Rushing out towards the end of the box for the equaliser. Just ridiculous decisions. And Wolves, of course, will ruin the decisions that went against them in the game at West Ham. So they'll be looking to have hopefully they have more luck or fortune, whatever way you want to look at it, with regards to decisions going their way in the game on Saturday. Wolves 2, Ipswich 0.
Okay, and we've got a 5:30 game this week, and it's Forest versus Villa.
Yeah, Villa are up to 6th after 2 wins, and they've got the same number of points as their opponents. Forest, incredibly, have achieved getting to 5th by only scoring 19 goals in this Premier League campaign. However, 3 of those goals came at Old Trafford on Saturday, which I predicted would be a home win. And again, they've added another notable victory to their wins by, winning at Anfield earlier on this season and beating Man United for the first time since 1999 or something like that. So I think Forest will continue their good form and just sneak a win against Villa. Forest 2, Villa 1.
Okay, well, that'd be something of a shock, but then again, I do remember you tipping Forest to win the league a few weeks ago, so maybe none of us should be surprised if Forest beat Villa.
Well, I don't remember the tipping them into the league, certainly, but I think they'll continue their form. I think it should be beneficial to them that Villa played only a few days before in a tough away game in Europe. So all the things look as if they'll be favouring Forest, and Forest's more maybe a bit more fresh for the game at Saturday evening. So that's why I've gone for that. It's as you kind of alluded to, it could be a home win, it could be a draw, and it quite easily could be an away win. But I'm going to go for a home win. I'll stick with that.
The epitome of sitting on the fence. It could be a home win, it could be an away win, it could be a draw. On that note, we're going to take a quick breather because we've got a very busy second half to come. So the half-time whistle's blown. We'll be right back after this quick break. It's half-time here on the panel for our Premier League prediction show. So if you're thinking of following us this weekend with an online bookmaker, be sure to check out our sponsor, Betobo.com. They're available in Ireland, Canada, New Zealand, Austria and Norway for our viewers and regular visitors to Gambling.com, and have a very generous sports welcome pack available. Just click on the link in our bios or on our website to check them out. Home to some great offers like weekly cashback, weekend boosts and more. You'll have plenty to explore at Betobo this football season. Let's get back to our Premier League predictions. Hello and welcome back to Premier League predictions with myself, Matthew Christ, and Brian McClair. And it's the second half, which means it's Sunday's games. And we start at 2 p.m. with a derby of some sorts. So I'm told it's Brighton versus Crystal Palace.
Yeah, Palace are unbeaten in the last 4 Premier League games, two 2-2 draws in their last fixtures. A point in the last game which keeps Palace just above that relegation zone. Brighton have not won any of the last 3 yet. Are 7th in the league. Perhaps my favourite, Danny Welbeck, will start the game at the weekend. Look forward to see if that's the case. Brighton 3, Palace 1.
Okay. 4:30. It's the big one. It's the Manchester derby. Struggling Manchester City against a struggling Manchester United team.
Yeah, that's probably the kind of perfect word for this particular game. I mean, it's the 55th Premier League derby. As you said, two teams strong to put a run of form together. I mean, people have been saying how well Onana had been doing in this season, and then I just can't make any head or tail for that goal that he conceded. That he seemed to dive the complete wrong way, and the ball went into look clearly into the middle of the goals. Yet he has more clean sheets this season than any other goalkeeper. So maybe it's just a one-off particular situation. There was quite a few difficulties for Manchester United defending all the goals in that game. And of course then there's Manchester United like to be involved in the headlines with other areas, with the sporting director departure, the sporting director's departure after only 5 months, considering the huge effort they made both in time and time, resources and finances to secure. So there's some always easy headlines for all media outlets with regards to Manchester United. Can't imagine Amorim losing 3 games in a row, but it's a possibility. City have got a lot of defenders missing. Through not being fit and suspended, because indeed one player sent off last week. And there's been no draws in this fixture, incredibly, since December 2020. But funnily enough, I'm going for a draw.
Well, you could have fooled me.
City 2, Manchester United 2.
Yes, I think that might be quite a popular choice on Sunday. We've got a couple of evening games coming up this Sunday, strangely enough, and both at 7 o'clock. The first one we're going to look at is Chelsea versus Brentford. It's a London derby.
Well, Brentford now scored 31 goals in 15 Premier League games, with Brian Bueno and Visa scoring 9 each. Cucurella slipped twice last week at the Tottenham Stadium, which inspired Chelsea to a brilliant comeback. Chelsea have got 13 points from the last 15. Maresca, what a great job he's done, considering all the pressure and discussions about the number of players that were available for him to choose at the start of the season. Now sits second. They're the top goal scorers in the Premier League. Cole Palmer, what a season he's having again. 11 goals and 6 assists. Chelsea to prevail in this fixture. Chelsea 3, Brentford 1.
Okay, how much of a title chance do you think Chelsea have got? Do you think they really are contenders this year?
Yeah, I think that the way that they're playing, there was Maresca laid down a challenge, didn't he, to say that to the rest of the players that let's prove that we're not just a one-man team, and that one man being Cole Palmer, who was responsible for the majority of goals and assists last season. And I think that's what's happened. And it's clearly been very good for Cole also, because he has continued that form. But there's plenty of other people scoring goals and creating chances, as was the case in the game last week. You know, I mean, early on the mistakes, but as I mentioned, Cucurella slipping, which is really very unprofessional, which he recognised, I suppose, in the way that he changed his boots quite quickly. So he managed to get out of that difficult situation. He had an interesting meet also, didn't he? Because when one of the opponents got sent off for pulling at his magnificent locks.
Something that didn't happen when you were playing, Brian, did it?
Most people didn't have. Yeah, certainly not like that.
The second Sunday evening game is Southampton Tottenham. I'm looking at on paper 2 teams again that are desperate to get the points.
I'd agree. Yeah, very much the case with regards particularly Southampton, but Spurs have only won 1 in their last 5, and I think they kind of threw away the game last week after a great start against Chelsea. And then once more, I suppose the story of their season in one way has been the injuries and suspensions that they've had, and illness. I mean, and injuries to Romero, which looked again like an injury that will put him out for a number of weeks. For me, him and Van de Ven have been very important the defence for Tottenham in the way that Postecoglou wants to play. Southampton have got 1 point in the last 15. They had plenty of the ball at Villa Park, but again, that incredible statistic that's happened to them in a number of games is they've had no shots on target, and only 2 in the previous game versus Brighton, but they managed to score 1 goal in that game, and that was enough to secure them a point. I don't think that they're going to win this game. Southampton 1, Spurs 3.
And a much needed win that would be for Ange, of course. And it's Monday night again, and it's West Ham again, but this time a tough-looking trip to Bournemouth.
Well, Bournemouth have got 3 wins in the spin there for Areola's impressive side, including 2 away wins. Both games last season ended in 1-1 draws. West Ham, the opposite of Wolves, saw fortune go their way again and last Monday, and they got some breathing room between them and the bottom 3. And then also it's quite entertaining for me really is the fallout at the end of the game between the captains. And if it was the case that Wolves captain refuses to shake hands with the West Ham captain, I think that's poor professionalism, really. It's understandable you're upset, but you, at the end of the game, it's finished. Be upset by plenty of other people. You can have a debate and discussion with the referee, but you should have that humility to accept win, lose or draw, that you should be doing the common decent thing, which is shaking hand with your opponent and wishing them all the best. So that one way, I suppose, it's entertaining. It gives it again a little interesting end to a televised match. But I think that this week I'm going to stick with Bournemouth. They're one of the teams that have failed to, on a number of occasions, get the result anywhere near. I think that Bournemouth will win this game, 2-1.
Okay. 2-1 Bournemouth. Well, that brings us to the end of another busy week of Premier League predictions. We'll see how Brian gets on in the coming days, and don't forget to let us know your thoughts and your predictions as well, and we'll see you again next time.